Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another head-to-head. I'm Ivan,
And I'm Megan.
and in this video, we're going to be playing D&T versus Blue-Red Delver.
Okay, so getting started off real quick with a fetch land. Gonna go in there and get some dual lands, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a little bold to do that against D&T, but at the same time, your mana base is fairly stable.
Oh yeah, I play my Delver like I play my poker. Nice and risky.
Yeah, well, and you do play how to turn one Delver. That's very good. Ooh, and I do get the strongest start you could possibly think of with a turn one Aether Vial.
And I am not all about that, so I am gonna pitch another Delver to force a negation.
Yeah, and seeing as how I led with a non-basic, it sort of shows that my opening hand had a bit of weakness to it since I didn't start with basic planes. So
Yeah.
that was really heads-up play to go ahead and counter that Aether Vial.
Definitely, that's what I was thinking, was I'm not gonna give you a chance to get your creatures out for free. I'm gonna make you work for that white mana.
Right. And it looks like, so I go ahead and you end up landing my Wasteland, and yes, it does show that I do have a weak hand. I end up playing Port. You go ahead, and it didn't look like your Delver flipped.
The first time, but now here it is, flipped and attacking you for 3.
Yeah, doing what it does. And then into a young Pyromancer, which should speed up your clock quite a bit as well.
Yes, I'm gonna try to start going wide, getting all the bodies, doing all of the instants.
Yeah, I tapped down one of your volcanic islands, but you do play a Ponder, which allows you to start with the elemental tokens.
Yes, it does have summoning sickness though, much to my dismay, so I can only hit you for 5 this turn.
Okay, so I am trying to constrain you on mana, but it looks like it may end up being too late anyway, considering you already have quite a bit of board presence here. Yeah, so it looks like I go ahead and I play Phyrexian Revokers. That's basically the only thing I can play. I'm fairly sure I'd name Oko with that, seeing as how you have no non-land activated abilities in your deck there.
Yeah, but hey, at least he's a body, you know, he can block my young Pyromancer at the very least.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's what I end up doing, because keeping young Pyromancer on the table is just it's very strong, and I want to be able to get rid of that ASAP.
Yeah, I am pondering getting another one of those elementals. And it can't swing, so...
Oh yeah, I throw it right in front of the Pyromancer. That makes sense.
It wasn't serving much other purpose.
No. Yeah, and it looks like I'm down to 7, so you have... If you draw a Lightning Bolt, this is the turn. Okay.
Oh. I'm digging for a Lightning Bolt. I guess a land and a Lightning Bolt is my ideal play here.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, that would be game. Okay, so we're swinging in for 5. I go down to 2, so I'm going to have to do something incredible. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do to be able to...
You're trying to port down my fetch land. And
yeah.
I said, no thank you, sir. I would like to have my land.
Yeah, just doing whatever I can. So I untap, I draw nothing, and that's game. So going into game 2, the sideboard with D&T, I end up taking out the 2 Revokers. As we saw in game 1, there were no activated abilities that were non-land, so they end up just being useless for the most part. And I end up substituting those for 2 Path Exiles. So that way I have more removal spells to answer the threat base of Blue-Red Delver. I also trim 1 Recruiter of the Guard to bring in the Grafdigger's Cage, as that does quite a bit of work against Dreadhorde Arcanist.
So going into game 2, I am on the draw, so I'm going to go ahead and board out all 4 Dazes, just because it's not as good when I don't start out first. I'm also going to take out 1 Spell Pierce, because D&T is a pretty creature-heavy deck, so there's not much likelihood that I'm going to have non-creature spells to counter. And instead I'm going to bring in 2 Abrade, just so that I have the options to kill his equipment or his creatures, Blazing Volley as a board sweep, Winter Orb to slow him down, and then Null Rod also to kind of slow down his equipment game.
Alright, getting into game 2, I end up being on the play. It looks like you end up taking a mulligan there. I'm already off to a good start with a Plains here, and into a Mom, which should be good against your removal spells.
Yes, it's good to see that you at least start off with 1 white mana.
Yeah, occasionally the deck can, have trouble with its white mana sources, but, that was just kind of a bad keep on my part in game 1. So this is starting to look pretty good so far.
You're being a little risky as well. I'm over there with my basic lands trying real hard not to get wastelanded.
Which is good because I drop a wasteland, but I do also drop a Thalia. It looks like you go ahead and brainstorm in response. Yeah, turn 2 Thalia is one of the better plays D&T can offer, especially against like a Delver type deck.
I apparently did not find a counterspell because Thalia still exists, so that's unfortunate for me. But we'll see if I can't maybe pay 2 and lightning bolt her or something stupid like that.
Yeah, I mean that's usually the play, right? It's just get her out of the way ASAP. You do pay 2 to ponder. Still pretty good at 2 mana, but
I don't know. It feels bad.
Yeah, it always feels bad to have to do that. Let's see. I wonder if I actually try to constrict your mana further. Yes, I go ahead and do it there. So that way, I mean, if you're just stuck on 1 mana.
Not doing anything. Oh, and you ported down my island to add insult to injury.
But hey, you know, you did end up drawing a second land, which is great.
I did. Hopefully don't get another wasteland, because that would just be the worst.
And there it is, actually. Yeah, this is starting to look a little lopsided on this game as well here. So I guess I go ahead and fetch up Batterskull, I think, just because I want to present like the fastest clock possible. And it looks like you don't have any removal for my Stoneforge, so I can be a little greedy and get the most expensive equipment.
Yeah, Thalia's still out there, you know, making it harder for me to be able to answer all of these things you're doing.
Right, but then again, you do get yet another red source, which could punish me for going to get Batterskull. Ah, okay, so you actually opt to... Yes, it looked like you tried to abrade, not realizing you'd have to pay 3, but you do have the lightning bolt. And I end up actually saying, oh yeah, by the way, I have Mom. So...
Yeah, so I was just so desperate I didn't even see that play, which is unfortunate for me.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes things like that just slip through the cracks. Magic's hard. I say it all the time. Ooh.
And you had the pocket Sword of Fire and Ice. You were hiding from me like a sneaky little devil.
I guess that's the other reason I searched for Batterskull.
Yeah.
And then I do go and equip, and since it's pro red, it gets right past, and it's already looking like this game might be sealed very soon.
I know, we're just having a repeat of game 1, but, you know, just the opposite. I'm finally able to get a 3rd land. It's only turn 11 or something like that.
Right. I'm sure it feels that way, right?
It certainly does.
Death and Taxes will do that. It'll slow the game down to a crawl.
Yeah, and at this point I say, Wastelands be damned. I'm just gonna try to actually have red mana and do things with it.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what it is you're gonna go ahead and do here. You do abrade the sword, which is really good. Alright, and it looks like you go ahead and swing, and you do cast a Brainstorm out of the graveyard. And it looks like you get to do that without paying its mana cost, but I'm not sure if that ends up being enough. That might end up being game right there.
Yeah, because I have no blockers, so if you've got that Batterskull swinging at me, and that's it, that's game.
For the sideboard with D&T for Game 3, I actually end up just sticking with the same configuration for Game 2 and just running it back.
And for my sideboard for Game 3, I am now on the play, so I bring back in the Dazes, and I take out a Brazen Borrower, 2 Force of Wills, and a second Spell Pierce to try to get enough counter magic that will actually matter for what he is playing. Alright, so going into Game 3, we're drawing our hands, trying to see if it's worth keeping.
Yeah, it looks like we both keep on 7 here. It's a good sign.
That's good. And I'm coming right at you with the Delver, my namesake.
That's right. And once again, I do find the white mana, a much better keep this time, directly into Mom, just like Game 2.
Alright. Let's not have a complete rehashing of Game 2, because I'd like to win.
Oh, well that was interesting right there. It looks like your Delver didn't flip, and I was just more than happy to trade the Mom for the unflipped Delver. You end up playing another one.
I certainly did not expect for you to block a Delver with a Mom. But,
yeah, I think that's part of why I did it, right? And then I go ahead and just play Stoneforge and go grab the Batterskull.
Just keeping me on my toes over there. But I did end up flipping the second Delver, so now I'll fly right over your Stoneforge and whatever equipments you bring in.
Right, and it flipped to a Daze, which, you know, makes me have to consider playing around Daze. It's always a really interesting game to have to play.
Yes, hopefully the mind games will just keep you scared. You won't play any of your big scary things.
And so this looks like an entirely different sort of game from the first 2 matches as well, because there's really no mana denial going on in these early turns. So it sort of illustrates a different angle that these decks can play. Oh, well, as soon as I say that. Okay, wow, so we're just fighting over things here.
Yeah, so I said, no, I don't want you to swords my Delver. I want to keep it, and I want to take your land. So, although there is that Batterskull just out there, living its best life, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be able to race the Delver fairly easily. And it looks like I bring a Flicker Wisp onto the board as well to keep the pressure going.
Oh, and then you're gonna bounce my Delver after all that hard work I put in.
Yeah, I just flick it in and out. Alright, but I mean, now you do have 2 Delvers on board, which will race the Batterskull, but with the Flicker Wisp in the mix, you know, that sort of changes things.
Yes, got rid of my flyer, now I have to try to flip it all over again.
Right, and well, Mirren Crusader adding to the board is huge.
Well, and you're over there just gaining all your lives.
Right.
I did flip both Delvers, so that's promising. Am I going to swing though and leave myself open for all of your attackers? And I am. I don't know that that's the smartest choice, but I suppose it's the greediest choice.
Well, you are at 8. You're gonna have to do something to get rid of my threats, or else I'm presenting lethal. It looks like you do play the Blazing Volley to kill the Flicker Wisp, but I think that's it, actually.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough to stop you from hitting me with lethal.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be game.
Well, thanks for joining us on another epic game of head-to-head. Maybe next time I'll actually win a match. Who knows?
We'll see you next time.
Mwah!